not something I necessarily agree with. I thought it would be a little bit of a adventure, so I thought I would try it. I've gone ahead and already prepared my frames. I'm going to load the right pattern back in, and hopefully I can do this all in one motion. So this pattern is going to be slightly different in that we are actually going to be forgot to change my thread color. All right, we're just going to deal with the color I have. We're actually going to be doing our zipper pocket first and then moving it to the other frame. And because that's a little bit tricky, I discovered when I did my first sample, I wanted to go ahead and do a video with you. Now I've already gone ahead and stitched out my zipper placement on my placement lines, and as I've mentioned to y'all before, take the time to use a pen, and of course I don't have a pen sitting here. Use a pen and extend all your lines. It's helpful later on when we're going to center all the different parts, if you want it to be really laid out properly. So let me find a pen here. Where'd my pen go? Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and extend all these lines. These are center point markings for different aspects. Oh, these are actually the pocket placement. I didn't need to do that, but that's okay. And on the back, remember we want to draw where our zipper is, so we can line things up there later if we need to. And again, we're going to extend the center marks on the back. And I have this upside down. So I think that's it. And the first that's going to stitch out is our pocket for the top divided. So sorry. So I need my first folded pocket, and I have two. They're actually the same size. I have interfaced these, and I recommend that you do. I use SF101. So I'm going to put I only do the half of it. I'm going to put the half that's interfaced up, and so I'm going to match it with these first tick marks here, and then tape it in place. And it's probably a good idea to fold these pieces in half and match them up with the center fold line, because if you don't, you may not have an even distribution when you're all done, when you have to go to trim the seam allowance. You don't want to have to guess at it. So, and this looks a little bit wonky, yes, because we are taping to the stabilizer, but we're going to pull this all off. This pattern, like the other one, is 2 hooping. But at the end, you get something that looks a little bit more professional than your traditional in the hoops. So I've gone ahead and attached that, and now I'm going to stitch the tick lines for the diagonal line, and we're actually going to tip up and make sure we meet it from the placement line as well. So I'm going to do that in white. Hopefully that'll show up on this very graphic fabric I have here. And I'd actually recommend using a different color for this pocket. I messed up. I intended to do that and I messed up, and I was like, okay, I'm just going with it. And again, we're going to fold this, and it's not going to be quite even centered for this one. So I can take this tape off now because those little tick marks are going to hold it in place. And as I mentioned, they're going to be hard to see because this fabric is so, they are not the same location. So remember, we have this slanted line in here that we drew, and that's where it's going to meet. So going to line this up, and the top of the fabric is going to go above the tick mark, just above it. Why did I design it this way? I don't know. That's the sample the lady sent to me, and I was like, you know what, that's cute. I'm going to stick with that. So it's a little bit tricky because you need to make sure that you have enough overlap in your seam allowance area all around, so you can see how you can't center it. So what I mean is, down here in this corner, we're going to make sure we have enough overlap there. You can see that we do here, and then over here as well. And I think we're just about there. So this is probably one of the trickiest spots. And if you want, and you don't mind wasting fabric, just add an inch to the dimensions I posted, and you know, give yourself more wiggle room. I was all about trying to save some fabric. And I'm just going to go ahead and tape this down. You see I'm actually going to tape it right to the hoop on that side. And actually I'm going to move this tape because it may end up in my dividing marks, and I don't want that. So this is a real quick stitch out this part because these just do 2 pockets, and then we're going to do the divider. And I'm using blue because I forgot to change to a different color. So that's what we're using. So I have it kind of start back a little and then come forward on purpose, just to really secure that divider. It's not an accident. I did it on purpose. And as always, my needle threads are always pulling down. Drives me insane. You have to be very careful if you're using one of these machines because of this bug in these software. I've gone and walked away before and had that thread fall down in the thread path and mess up my stitch. You're not happy accidents. I actually kind of dig the blue. You don't see it too much, but it actually is a little bit of a pop there. Okay, so that's all that's for this one. Now we're going to move on to the zipper. I've already taped the zipper down, and I'm actually using a very tight zipper there. I think it's only 9 inches. So I would recommend that you use a little bit wider zipper. I'm going to make sure it's in there. And the first step is going to be a tack down of the zipper, just to hold it in place. And I went ahead and did the zipper ends on this as well. But again, you can skip that step if you're not comfortable with moving the zipper in and out of the way, the pull. You can skip this step and just move the zipper before you do the very. I'll remind you when. Okay, so now I can remove this tape and get it out of our way. And I'm going to do it in blue so you can see the placement lines for the zipper tab ends. And this is a slightly smaller wallet, so you will actually only see about 1/2 inch in the final product, but I think it still adds a little bit more security to it. So that's why I did it. And make sure you're just using a simple zipper here. You don't want to use anything with the bigger teeth. I found these really cool zippers and I cannot use them because the teeth are too chunky. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and line up our fold and center this over that mark. and tape it in place. And then it's going to run tack down, and then we'll open it back up and it'll run the top stitching. Here's the pink tape that I found out about from my friend Susan, and I love this stuff. I found it at my local quilt shop. It holds really well. You can reuse it several times. And it's by RK. RNK, RK is what's on the box. Alright, so I'm going to do this in white so it doesn't show up as much in the final product. Sometimes when you fold it back, the stitches show a little. Especially if you pull it back too tightly like I usually end up doing. Oh. You know, it's like I do this every time on purpose. Anybody want to guess what I forgot to do? Talking about the zipper pull, I forgot to pull the zipper pull forward. So here we go. Rip out, rip out, rip out. One moment, please. I'm sorry about that. You gotta pull the zipper pull. And it is in the instructions to do that. You'll follow the instructions and not me. But you know, it just goes to show we all make mistakes, and thankfully this one's early on we caught it. You know, you might say I did it on purpose. I've only done it in like 3 videos now. Oh, and I just undid the wrong end. Okay. So, I actually have my zipper pull on the wrong end. That's okay. I actually prefer having the zipper pull down here. I don't know what I was thinking, so. I was thinking maybe Kimberly shouldn't be doing this video tonight. This person who's requested is in Spain, and she's kind of anxious to have this pattern, so I wanted to get it done and get it off my queue, because I got to get a baby blanket done. But I'm sure you can see the mess behind the machine here. My cutting table is an absolute mess. I don't know how your guys's look, but mine is an absolute mess right now, so I cannot work with Minky when the cutting table is an absolute mess. I can actually still, no, I can't. I'm going to redo the placement stitches. I can't see it. I thought I could still see it, but I can't, so let's back up, guys. Sorry about that. All right. All right. That's exactly the reason why I do the tack down of the zipper, is because we have to open up the zipper pull, and if we didn't tack the zipper down first, it wouldn't stay together. And yet I forgot to do it, so. All right, here we go again. Here we're gonna line this up. I fold it in half just to make it easier to match up. And then I just lay it right on the placement line and then unfold it. Because if you don't, it will shift on you. I did enough of the ultimate wallet test to know that it will shift on you. Okay, same thing here, line it up there. I'm actually going to pull this back just a tad because those holes are still showing. And I want those to show. Yeah, that'll be. Okay. Now this is our tack down. I'm going to do white. And on my machine I have to keep hitting reserve stop because it's 6 needles, so it can handle all those colors. If you're on a single needle machine, your machine should stop you at each step because I make sure that color changes are different. And then the top stitch is a bean stitch, so it's going to really hold the zipper in there securely. All right. Now we're back in business. Okay, and I still like to tape down. And see, don't pull the... I'm going to show you because I just did it again. My instinct is always to pull against the seam tight from quilting. But don't do that because when you pull it too tight, then the basting stitches can show. So just leave a little bit of room there so it's not so tight. And then your basting stitches won't show. And this zipper is actually kind of short, but because we're doing this, when you get to putting the entire exterior together, you can actually cut out that zipper tape, which is really nice to be able to do that. I'm going to use white because this is green. Sorry, I was saying I was going to use white because this is green. The machine moved the same time I talked. And if you've done my ultimate wallet already, you will know that there was a tab in that one. And I opted not to do a tab in this because people are going to put a little pouch of tobacco in this. People still roll their cigarettes. Seriously, had no idea people roll their own cigarettes. So, but it's very popular, I guess, in other countries. So the little pouch, though, is, you know, about that thick. So a magnetic tab or a tab like that is going to be just too, it's going to be too tight. It won't be adjustable. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our zipper, and I am using this fabric for the zipper. So I'm going to have a zipper facing, which is a little bit different than you're used to. And the reason why is I don't want the inside raw. If I just make this outside the zipper of the zipper pocket be the flap of the zipper pocket, the inside of the zipper is not going to be finished. So there's two pieces for the zipper, even though it's going to be facing the front. It's not going to be buried inside a pocket like in the other one. So we're going to turn this over and we're going to use one of our zipper pocket linings. And this is not, I did not line this. You can if you want it, but I didn't. And here's where the lines that we drew on the back extended makes it. We're going to match this up to these lines. And again, fold it if you want or eyeball it. I think I'm good on this one. And then tape it in place. And again, you can actually pin this from the front. Turn it over. And then we're going to take our zipper pocket facing and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take this to, oh, and actually I kind of, so it's going to be where your zipper pocket's in. So you kind of have to eyeball it because I have the tape here. So just line it up with the middle of the zipper. And let's see, we're going to be starting down here, I think. No, down here. Pull the zipper pull all the way to one end. And this is where we're going to go ahead and stop midway and pull our zipper pull over to the other side. And again, make a little crease so you can line this up and make sure it's lined up at the center. Just so you have enough even seam lines all around. And then line it up with the top of the zipper tape. See that? Ignore these ends. Line it up right there. And again, I'm actually just going to pin this a couple times to hold that in place. You just want to make sure your pins are out of the stitch area. And it helps keep the pocket from moving around underneath as well. And then I'll just do one piece of tape right here. Here we go. And make sure it's your pocket is not getting messed up on the bottom. When I did my sample, I messed it up. Okay, and we're going to end up having to pull these pins out, so to lift up the flap, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm just going to pull them out. Okay, once I get about halfway, I'm going to stop the machine. You don't need to remove it. Just get in here, and if you have to, where'd my seam ripper go? If you really need to be able to get in there and you can't reach it, carefully take your seam ripper and just pull the needle pull head or the zipper pull head with that, and it'll help you pull it down to the other end if your fingers are a little bit too tight. I don't need to do that. My fingers are okay, but you know, just gives you something else to do. All right, make sure it's still laying down and finish it. And this is going to get top stitched, and on my machine I don't need to move the zipper pull out to do the top stitching. Your machine you may need to. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and pull this guy down and finger press him. This is a place where finger pressing is good. Pull this guy out. Fold him down and finger press him. And I need some more tape. All right, tape him down and tape him down. Okay, this is going to be the top stitching, so I'm going to change to blue. All these threads are in the way again. Sometimes I can get away with pulling them up like this, cutting it off, and then they'll stay gone for a little while, but not always. Drives me crazy. I'm still recording, aren't I? Yes, good. I set the phone to do not disturb this time. All right. Now we're ready to do the other part of the zipper pocket. And there's not going to be a top, yeah, there is going to be a top, sorry. The top's going to be a little bit confusing, so. Oh, and I did catch the corner. Darn, that's okay. It's going to get caught in the seam allowance. I almost said make sure you tape down the corners, but usually I don't have an issue with this one. Usually it's the next piece that has an issue. Okay, so now we're going to line up this piece with these two lines here. And just like in the Ultimate Wallet, once we lay this down, we're not moving it again. So just tape that down. It's not going to get flipped up like you do in your traditional flipper style patterns. Now, this is, put some tape in those corners. It might get stitched over, but I tell you, every single time these corners do me in. They seem to like to come loose, even when I'm using this table. And actually, the table probably makes it worse, because if it wasn't, the table wasn't there, they'd be able to move loosely and not fold up against something. And then I'm just going to pull this piece off down here. Put him there. Okay, now this is the part. It's going to make sense later. Just trust me on this. I'm going to take this long piece here. And this is going to be our, we're going to line that up here. This, trust me. Just trust me. I know it's really long, but it's there for a reason. And again, let's see, we're going to start, we ended down there. We're going to start down here, I think. Just going to move the zipper pull out of the way and tape this down. It looks really wild right now, but it's gonna be okay. All right, let's put this back under here. Make sure that's not coming up. See what I'm doing? This is coming loose. And I know if I don't fix that, it's going to get junked up under there because we have another step after this. So I'm going to go ahead and put some more tape down there. And you see the tape does kind of get old, and then it'll fold over on you and then it won't work. So turn it back over. All right, there we go. Make sure this is down. And again, we're going to stop halfway in and move our zipper pull. And it went right through the tape. That's okay. And you know, if you were doing a traditional sewing pattern, you would actually push the needle down and have the needle hold this while you move it. But we don't need to do that here. If you feel more comfortable, you can stop it and restart it. But this is just the basting down stitch, so it's not gonna show, it's not gonna be too bad if it gets a little bit shaky. But since we've had it taped down, it should stay in place once you resume it. Okay, and then we're gonna leave the zipper pocket alone. We're going to fold this up and we're going to top stitch it, and then that's done for this hooping. Or no, I'm sorry, it's not done for this hooping. We have one more step after this. Okay, anyway, let's fold this, finger press it, and here you might want to use the pins to hold this down since it's such a long piece of fabric. You can just kind of roll this down if you need to. Okay, and I'm going to use, oh heck, I'm just going to use blue. It's going to look kind of funny if I use a different color for the top stitching. This will make sense, trust me, it really will. I know you're probably asking, Kimberly, you just covered up the other pockets. What are you doing? But it's okay. All right. Why does this still say I have... Oh, I know. I have my centering marks to do after this. Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and pull this up and tape it out of the way. Or pin it. I'm going to pull this up out of the way, because we want to go ahead and stitch the zipper pocket together, just like we do in the Ultimate Wallet. Make sure nothing got loose down there. And I'm going to use white. It should start just underneath the top stitch, or the zipper pocket facing. gone ahead and we've stitched this together down here. So now you can go ahead and put that back down, pull this down out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and mark on one end, we're going to put the midpoint so we know where to match it up on the next side, because these pocket dividers are not even. So we want to make sure we have a marker there. So I'm going to do white so it'll show up. Okay. And then turn this, pull these back up again, and we're going to do the same thing on the zipper pocket. And you actually probably want to pull these stitches out later, but this way we can make sure we mark everything up exactly even. It's critical that it's all lined up evenly when you put the next frame. Okay, so that one's done. And I have the other hoop already planned ahead this time. So I'm going to take this one out, remove all the tape. And if the tape went through your stitching on the back, it's fine, just pull it out. It's going to be buried inside, so if you don't get it all out, don't worry about it. See, I can't get this out. I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, so and you see right there the stitches. So I'm actually going to use my pen and mark that on the back side of that, and then remove those stitches. So now I have it marked, so when I go to line this up, it'll be okay. And if you wanted to, what you could do, if you want to skip those stitches, is just roll it up here and stitch it, you know, mark it through here. So, I don't know if this is going to show, but I'm going to mark it right here on the back. And then you'll have somewhere to mark it, to center it. Okay, so go ahead and remove this from the frame. I'm going to go ahead and put the other frame inside. Now here is the centering marks, and then this is the placement. This is going to be the tricky part because I forgot to mark the end of the lining. So I'm going to have to wing it. You need to mark the lining when you, why is my tearaway not working here? Oh, there. Okay, and then here's our zipper pocket. Okay, so what we're going to do from our zipper is, as mentioned earlier, you can kind of pull this back and trim this zipper tape because we have already established our stops, so we don't need this, and we can get it out of our final seam. And we'll trim everything else even when we're all done. But trim it about 1/4 inch, no less, because it will fray and come apart. And there, I want you to move your zipper face, your pocket facing out of the way, and I want you to trim this down here, because we are going to need to pull this out of the way. So I'm going to trim it. Once I get to that point there, I'm going to turn it up and make a little bit of a tab there that'll help in turning it in later on. So I'm just trimming it 1/4 inch. Okay. So now what we're going to do is load our new one. Load our other design back in here. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is we want our zipper pocket 4 inches above this, and then we're going to line that up there. So I'm going to go mark it real quick. That's what I forgot to do earlier. I'm just going to put a small line here because I can't find the white chalk marker. Okay, so I put 4 inches right there and there, and I'm going to line that up. Again, fold this in half and make sure where you've met that mark is that you're at the halfway mark. So it's not easy. You kind of got to mumble around here. Okay, I have it there. So I'm going to gently pull this down. Keep it centered until I get those tick marks lined up down there at the bottom with that placement line. It's going to make sense in a minute, people. It really is. Alright, I think that's even on that side. Okay, and see what I'm talking about right here? And you can actually draw this line out to make your life easier. Like that. And then you can match up. And I'm actually, since I have a halfway mark down here, and we know this was all added evenly, I'm going to mark the notch here and match that up too. So that's there. Okay, so we're all even. All right, so let's tape this down. I know it doesn't make any sense right now, but it's going to, trust me. Okay, move this pocket out of the way. Let's put this back on. And make sure you don't get your zipper pocket stuck anywhere. Alright, I'm going to use white, and it's going to tack this down in 2 places. Ooh, I've used a lot of tape today. Okay, now we're going to go straight to the tick marks for the pockets. Sorry. I'm going to do those in blue so that they show up better. And you'll want to monkey, that's why I didn't make it the same color. This markings are going to possibly show in the side of it. You want it to match the background fabric. The tick marks are going to be caught up in the seam allowance, so you want colors that you're going to be able to see. And I forgot to change it to blue. It's going to be pink. That's okay. We're almost there, guys. It's actually not too much more. And I'm still working on the PDF for this. So today's Monday the 13th. So hopefully if I get this uploaded to YouTube and you guys are watching it, I should have this on Etsy by Wednesday, the 15th, August 15th. Hey, it's my niece's birthday. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and fold this up so the top of the pocket zipper meets the tick marks. And you will have to fold it down a little bit. So all you should see is, and it's a little tricky, all you should see is the top stitching of your zipper pocket. And it's actually really tight, so I think I'm going to go with 4 1/4 inches. Well, in this case, it's just reaching the bottom of the tick marks, but the most important thing is you want it to be even, so that it's even across here. So, yeah, it's actually meeting the bottom of the tick marks. That's fine. So use a lot of tape. And I'm going to show you what I mean by even. And once it's all said and done, you're going to want to take this to the ironing board and press it really well. Okay, so I ended up matching that up with the bottom of the tick marks. But you see how this is even over here, so the top stitch line is right there. That's what you want to try and focus on, keeping even. And this side here is actually going to be, you need to come down a little. So I'm actually going to put a pin in this to hold it in place until we get this sewn down, because it's not wanting to stay over here. You could actually, if you had your iron set up, you could go ahead and do that right now. Now, flip this over. Oh, sorry. Flip this up. And I forgot to remove the stabilizer from this side. Remove the stabilizer from the pocket inside. We do not want to get the pocket caught up in the seam. So, pull this up. Sorry, you should have done this first. I almost forgot. And fold in this zipper pocket and tape it down so it does not get caught up in the final seam or in the tack down stitch. So I'm going to tape this all down here. Actually, I'm going to use a pin and I'm going to show you what I mean. So I just made a trapezoid. I folded this in here, folded in here, and folded this up. We don't want that to get trapped. And then fold this down. Now, where's my pin at? I'm going to hold a pin down because this side over here does not want to stay down. And we just need to make sure that this is even. So you're going to pull it tight because that bulk of the zipper pocket is underneath there. And you don't want to bog a loose pocket here. Okay, so that's good. Yeah. I have no more pins. Some more tape. I don't know why. You know what? We should have trimmed this. If you trim this edge off sooner, that will help a lot. There we go. There we go. That's good. Okay, and now our other pocket. And make sure you have the right side facing up. We want the piece that we did. And remember, we made that little white tick mark that we're going to remove so we know where to center it. Okay, so the tick mark is right there. I'm going to fold it down and match up the tick mark with the center, and then I'll flap it. So do you see what I just did there? Just so I can match it up. Or you could just go ahead and get a pen and extend it, fold it in half, just so you're on that mark. And you want to extend it. So I just went like this, because this is the only way I can keep your frames not having to need a 12-inch frame. So match it up with your center mark, and then lay it down and unfold it. Now carefully match it up with the tick marks over here. And this time you want the pocket to just be covering the tick marks. Okay, so there's the tick marks right there, and we're covering it. And again, tape it down. This one probably will be okay because it's heavier and it doesn't have that bulky pocket underneath it, but we're going to go ahead and tape it down just to be safe. Okay, now this is going to just baste these two to the interior lining of the wallet. So I'm going to use blue just in case it shows. And it's going to go through the tape. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll pull it out. Going through a lot of, whoa, oops, I almost caught myself. My pin was in the place. Oh, watch out for that. It's going through a lot of layers, so keep that in mind. And you see that I really came very close to that zipper underneath there, so you really need to make sure it's up above that folded line. Okay, we can take all this tape off now. Alright, I'm actually going to skip the next few steps. Okay, so the next step is if you want to use fold over elastic to close it, and then I'm got stitch placements for D-rings, and I'm not doing that either. I'm just going to do an elastic. So I'm going to skip to that step, but if you want to do a D-ring or you want to do fold over elastic, then you're going to do these steps. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to skip that one. That's the placement, that's the tack down, that's a left side D-ring, tack down, right side, tack down. Alright, this is the one I'm going to do. I'm going to do it in white so I can see it. I did some looking on Etsy and other places, and it seemed the most common scenario for these wallets was a button and a piece of elastic. And this is skinny elastic because I left my heavier elastic in the car. So, okay, so oops, right there, I'm just going to center it in that line. And I know that the center is actually, oh, I still see my center mark there. See, it's still there. So, oh, and actually that center ended up being outside of our stitching, so we don't even need to remove that stitch. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of approximate how much of the elastic, the bigger and bulkier you think the wallet's going to be, the more you need it. And I'm going to go ahead and center this here. And it's going to get tacked down a number of times. I'm taking it down twice here, and then it's going to also get tacked down when the final wallet is assembled. So it should be pretty secure. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and do white again. We're almost there. And this is actually a little bit wide of a spot, so if you wanted to use a thicker elastic, you could. Okay. Final step. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put our exterior down. I put a button there. Now this is going to be tricky because all of our centering marks are covered up. So I've got all the centering marks on the back of this. So it's a little bit tricky. So what you want to do is get a pin or something and start away. And we can still pull this down up here a little bit to see that centering line. And I think the bottom we can too. So there's that. So I know that's right there. So I'm going to put a piece of tape there for a second. This is a very tricky step because you can't see all the centering lines. Okay, there's that one. Okay, and now the side we can't see it really. So we're going to have to pull up where we can and see if we can see it. Oh, and I can, it's right here. So I'm going to take a pin. And I'm just sticking the pin up from the bottom. Alright, and now I'm going to softly, so let me remove this tape. I have it centered pretty well. I'm going to gently move it down and make sure it's at the center mark. Okay, that side is. That's still centered. That's a little bit off. So you just got to poke around with it, but you really want to make sure this is centered really well. So I'm going to tape it down, and then I'm actually going to turn it over and put the pin through the back and make sure we are matching up our centering marks. Because we have a button on here, and the button is centered on the sample. And you know what you could actually do that would probably make your life easier is to trim. Let's actually do that. We can just trim away some of this extra now. Just trim about a ½ inch or whatever, just so you can see the lines. And you know, it's one of those things, it's such a balance to decide how much extra to do the material and how much waste you're going to have, because when I'm deciding this, I'm thinking about the fact that you're going to be doing this, and if you don't get something lined up right and you're too tight on the material, your project is going to be ruined. And I'm all about being frugal, but I'm also all about not having an entire project in the trash because something didn't get lined up right. So that helped a little bit. So I'm going to tape this down, and then we'll double check underneath. The sides are the hardest one to see. And this is a little bit bulkier because of the zipper pocket. So it's a little bit more so than the other ones. Yes, I should definitely own stock in this company, right? Okay, and I think I'm okay on that side. Okay, so I'm going to take my pin and just cover this one up. Here's my center mark. I'm going to push it down through here, and I'm going to turn it over and see, did I match up? And I do, even though I can see the line through there. It's just slightly off. I'm going to bump this just a tiny bit this way. So I'm going to guess this side is probably off too. Oh, I just undid that. Tape it to the frame. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to push it through there. See if it's lined up. Yep, that one was right on the spot. Okay, and let's double check this one. This one should be okay because we matched it up there. Yep, okay. So that takes a few seconds to do that, but do that with the pin so you make sure that this last piece is lined up well. And make sure you put the hoop back on the right way. I almost did it backwards, but remember our elastic was up here. All right. Last step. This is the final bean. And you want to do whatever color is going to match your exterior. I happen to have this goldish color up there. I'm going to use that. And if you are on a multi-needle, make sure you hit reserve stop, because we actually are not going to stitch out the very final step. And I'm suddenly thinking to myself, did I remember to pull the zipper pull to the middle? I don't remember if I did. And it's going to get really thick on the sides over the zipper poles, on the side where the zipper is. We did trim it out, but there's still a lot of bulk there. Okay, and this is where, almost forgot, if you are not using the zipper ends, you will want to pull your zipper pole to the middle of the screen or the frame if you're not using the zipper ends. Tape out since it's secure there. Save me from tearing out some tape. Okay, stop. Do not do the next step. This next step is a dummy step to prevent your machine from returning to center and getting stuck on any hardware you might have. Do not stitch it. Okay, now we're all done. So we want to take this out of the hoop, tear away the stabilizer. Oh, there goes my hoops. Oops. I really like this stabilizer or this 360 better for bags, because if you accidentally get some stuck in there, it's not a big deal. It's easy to get it out. I mean, it's not easy to get out. It's soft enough that it doesn't matter if it gets stuck inside, because it's really soft. So, and I did forget to take that pin out. There it is. I can reach it inside. And I'm not going to show you the hand stitching of that zipper pocket closed by any means. I wouldn't hand stitch it anyway. I would do it on my machine. If you don't have a machine, you can glue stick it with permanent glue. Close it that way. Okay, I got most of the thing out. And now how you see how this is how we're going to turn it. This is still open. This is the interior pocket behind our zipper pocket. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and trim around about 1/4 inch and notch the corners just not quite to the shoot, these scissors are not the best. They were a Prime Day special, and two for like $10, so I thought I'd try them, but no, I'm not impressed with them. When I bought my first multi-needle, I got it from, basically it was an estate sale. The man's wife had sadly passed away, and she had a whole drawer full of scissors. I was astonished. I was like, oh my gosh, why does she have so many scissors? Now I know why she has so many scissors, because you know we're always on the lookout for the best scissors, and so we buy these scissors and then we're not happy with them. And I will tell you, and just a hint, if you're on my Facebook group, I rediscovered a pair of gingers that I had forgotten about, and they were stuck on top of my dryer or something, I don't know. I'm telling you what, for something like this, they cut amazing. They were not the big silver handled gingers. They were black handled, plastic handled, but I'm going to do a giveaway with those the next time I don't have time to do a, like I just did this past weekend. I ran out of time and I couldn't get a freebie design ready, so I did a giveaway instead. Oh, and see, this is really thick over here because there's so many layers, and these scissors don't even want to go through it. So I'm just going to kind of taper it out a little bit inside, and so I'm going to go like this instead. I'm going to taper into it and trim out a little bit that way. You see how I did that? Another sewing tip I learned from. Oh, turn it over the other way so you don't cut too much into it. And just taper into it a little bit. Because it's so thick I can't even get these scissors in it to notch it. Oh, see how that is? Okay, and down here you can probably try and trim out some of this bulk as well. I'm going to leave it for right now and see how it does. We can always turn it back out because the last time I tried to do that, it was not successful. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pull our pocket out now. And you see how we left that little flap, so when we go to turn this, we have a little bit extra material with which to tuck it in. And I did leave my zipper open, good. So just reach in there and open it up the rest of the way. And again, I'm not going to iron this and show it all to you. You all know how to do all that kind of good stuff. Gently tear the stabilizer away from that zipper and just start gently tearing, turning your bag inside out. So you see I've reached inside there, and I'm going to start pulling the pocket in. And this is actually the first time I've done cork on such a large project. I've done the simple bags, but not a lined bag. And this is the cork from Hobby Lobby. I don't know how long it's going to hold up. It's probably not the best quality cork out there, but I wanted to try cork, so they have it there. I think it's like $20 a yard, and if you use your 40% off coupon, you know, it makes it a little bit more affordable. Just keep turning. Then you want to, while the zipper pocket is open, reach in there and push out your corners. And if you are using cork or some other vinyl on your exterior, you need to make sure you're very careful pressing it. Press it from the cloth side. And what you can do is get scraps of whatever material you're using and practice pressing it with a pressing cloth. I've had very good luck with a lot of vinyls using a piece of cotton as a pressing cloth to press it to get any kind of wrinkles out of it. But you know, your mileage may vary. So, and again, if you saw my other video, it looks like the pocket's inside out right now. That's okay. We're going to flip it. It's going to be fine. Just focus on getting those corners out from inside the zipper pocket. Okay. Now let's flip our pocket the right way it should be. And I even, you guys aren't going to believe this. My friends probably would die if they know this, because I am one of the most anti-smoking people there is. And I don't believe in smoking the happy stuff either, although I do believe it should be legal. So I had to go into this corner store and ask for papers. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is honestly the first time in my entire life that I've ever bought papers, rolling papers. I made it to 50. Guess that's a good thing. Okay, I'm still working at it, but you're going to keep working at it. All right, there we go. Oops, how did I do that? You see, I just messed that corner up. I don't know how I did that. Okay. And you're going to get the iron out, and you're going to fix your little zipper pocket in here. It's all wrinkled up. And you'll pull that out, and you'll close it up once you're all done. But there you go. And just for demonstration purposes, I have my little stuff here. Let's hope that it all fits. I have the little lighter, I have these little papers, and I have these little papers. This is a tight fit here. Okay. Yeah, this, I'm going to adjust that by the time you guys get this pattern. It's still a little too tight for my liking. It goes in, but I'm going to move it over just a little bit more. So by the time you guys get the pattern, it'll be done. And then you can fold it closed, wrap the button around here, and I don't like using this cork for it. See, it's not solid enough, it's folding up. Or, you know, you may have just need to use a little bit more elastic. But it hasn't been pressed or anything yet, so once it's pressed, it'll look a little bit better. But yeah, I don't like the cork. And I think I might change the button placement as well. Make it a little lower. That'll be better too. So there you go. So by the time you guys get the pattern, I'll make those two little adjustments and you'll be good to go. So here you have a pocket here, you have a pocket here, and then you have your zipper pocket. That's going the wrong direction. And then you'll just go ahead and pull this out and hem this up together on your machine or glue baste it. I'm going to pin it together real quick because it seems really bulky in there. I'm worried that maybe it's too big. Alright. So you'll go ahead and sew it closed. I'm just pinning it right now. And then trim out any extra stabilizer behind the zipper teeth. And again, you're going to press it. Once you press it, everything's going to look better. I think it's okay. So, it's not pressed right now. Once you press it, that's going to lay down better. Everything will look nice and pretty. And I'll go ahead and have this all pressed up for the sample picture. And that's pretty much it. So, I hope you like it. Thanks, everyone.